And we are live here on the Sportsbook Junkies podcast. We are your hosts, the Nick Stop and Nate. Nate, how you doing today?
Oh man, just busy with the day job all most of the day. It's end of the month and I gotta get stuff submitted. So, that's part of the perks, I guess.
That's fair. I'm doing good too, thankfully. In better news, I'm now back on DraftKings. So, looking to make some money there as I did last year and then go from there.
Well, that's not too bad. Did you self-exclude or something, or were you just
No, I got the security code to my card wrong twice, and then they just locked my account.
that'll happen, unfortunately. But yeah, well, good because DraftKings can do some things good and
Yeah,
they
I
can
like
do
it better
some
than
things not
Caesars.
good.
I remember why I was on DraftKings the second that I got back on the app, so we're doing good.
But I guess, I have it no parlay luck here, but I should really say Thursday night success here in my book, as you saw in the Discord there, which I am pulling up with that parlay.
Got you.
So just give me a second here. Just kind of review this here a little bit. I had a successful Thursday night parlay. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 legs for the Saints game against the Jags. Hit 9 legs, won $420.
Sweet.
So a win-win in my book there. But aside from that, this weekend not super successful regardless.
Fair. I had a 10-leg little watered down parlay, you know what I'm talking about? On the Lakers, and it was plus 450. I'll leave the leg that didn't hit, but I hit 9 out of 10. It was Jamal Murray, 1.5, made 3-pointers. Nikola Jokic, 35 plus points plus rebounds. Jamal Murray, 5 plus assists. LeBron, 5 plus assists. Jokic, 10 or more rebounds. Aaron Gordon, 4 or more rebounds. Austin Reeves to make a 3. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to make a 3. And Austin Reeves to score 10 points. Those all hit, thankfully. What didn't hit was what I thought was going to cash with ease, and that was Anthony Davis to score 18 points. In case you guys didn't know, he had 17 points in the first half. How many did he have in the second, you might ask? 0. So that was unlucky, but we move on to today's slate, which I'm very excited for, given how my team plays in about 26 minutes.
Well, what are some thoughts you've got for today?
I'm biased when I say this, but I have logical reason for it. I'm taking the Knicks money line at plus 140 is what I got it at. I think it's at plus 142 now. Yes, the Celtics are a favorite in the East. Yes, their star-studded lineup. They have a star-studded starting 5. I think it was confirmed that their starting 5 is going to be Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis. That's what I was hearing, which means their only bench piece really is Al Horford. They have Peyton Pritchard who can give you a couple buckets, but outside of that, there's not really much to that bench, which is why they're going to have to make some moves closer to the deadline to fix that. But that being one second. One second. Sorry about that. I meant to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go. But yeah, because of that, I think the Knicks have a much deeper bench. I don't think our starting lineup is crazy far off from what the Celtics have to offer. I think Mitchell Robinson will do a good job of containing Porzingis. Porzingis is not a back-to-the-basket type of player, while Mitchell Robinson is still a very good interior defender. Jalen Brunson even though being guarded by Drew Holiday, I feel like we'll still be able to put up 20-something points tonight. Julius Randle will do what he does. In 4 meetings against the Celtics last year, he never scored lower than 22 points. His line is at 21.5 for tonight, so I would lean on that over as well. But I think the bench is what's really going to determine this game, and the Knicks have a far better bench than what the Celtics have to offer. So that's where I'm going with that one. Do you have any thoughts on that game?
I'm just going to be contrarian and say that your team is going to lose. Not really, but yeah, I mean, those are all good and dandy. I'm definitely expecting, weirdly enough, I'm expecting a 30-plus point night from Tatum.
Yeah.
So I don't have those odds in front of me, but I would throw that down in a parlay for the evening.
I think his line's at 27.5.
Yeah, I feel comfortable going over 30 for tonight. Just because, I'm not really sure how Porzingis is going to fit in all this. I still think it's going to be the Tatum show. So, we'll see. I'm more, I did the first night last night with my parlay. I actually ended up doing 2. But I'm really trying to see, how things are going to be, moving forward week by week here. So, I'm not diving too much into the NBA prop bets here. One, I'll be real interested to see moving forward how he's going to, continue to participate in the Suns lineup. And that would be the presence of one. And I'm probably going to butcher the hell out of this. But one, Yusuf Nurkic.
Oh, Nurkic.
Yeah, Nurkic. I'm not very good with pronunciation. He had a ton of rebounds yesterday.
Yeah, he was feasting.
He had 14. He went 14 and 14.
I took him at 8 rebounds, and I thought even that was a little whatever. And then he just soared over that in the first quarter.
Right, and I know LeBron, or not LeBron, excuse me, Kevin Durant. He had 11 in his own right there. But with Ayton having been shoved out, I mean, as long as he stays healthy, Nurkic, I can't ever apparently fucking say this. He looks like he's going to suck up a lot of rebounds. So I'm real curious to see what the sports books are going to do in regards to the lines he's going to have moving forward. If they're going to be at Jokic levels or not. I mean, we still got to see more games and move forward, but we'll see. So, I do want to say one thing that I find real interesting, and not to switch it up on the NBA here, but
no, that's fine.
And we can make it back there. But how about the Michigan Wolverines and their scandal that's going on right now?
I haven't even really seen it because, like I said, I don't really follow college too much. So if you want to shed some light on that.
Yeah. So there is a thing going on right now. It's been discovered, just to kind of give a little bit of a background here, that they had an assistant, a recruiting analyst assistant who was going and buying tickets to multiple games and videotaping signs from the sidelines. So defensive, offensive signs, what play and stuff will run like that. And it's cracked open huge. And just to kind of tie it into the betting world here, I only looked at FanDuel, but I happened to see something earlier in the afternoon today that some sports books have pulled Michigan out of possible games you can bet on, just for how with this all going on here. I looked earlier today and I got it pulled back up again. But just speaking strictly to FanDuel here, there are 2 games as of now that you can still bet on for Michigan. But it's not this weekend's game. It's not the next weekend's game. It's the November 11th game, and then the game against Ohio State. And you can still kind of bet on what is it? National championship Big Ten title. Uh, excuse me, winning teams here. But you can't bet on their game this week. Which who are they playing this week?
That I'm
not that I would probably pick them, because just depending on who they're playing. Well, it looks like they're off this week.
Gotcha.
But they're at home next weekend. But I mean, I haven't even seen I haven't even seen that game pop up on anything, in all honesty. So, this just kind of goes back to tying into, integrity and stuff like that, and just thinking about how how many bets probably were affected by this. I mean, just
probably
we still don't exactly know the full extent of this, as well as, how does this actually really affect something. But I'll be really curious to see how that's going to affect games moving forward, in terms of, like, is Michigan going to get spreads? Are they going to get, money line? That, are you going to even be able to bet on them? So I'll be real curious to see that moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. To kick it back to the NBA, I actually had a segment that I wanted to do. And it's called Underdog of the Day. I don't know if you were taking a look at any money lines or anything like that, but did you have any teams that were heavily underdog, slightly underdog, that you think, or that you like, that it kind of catches your eye and you're like, oh, they should not be underdog. Like, I'm going to take them because they have great value.
Again, it just kind of goes back to the the confidence thing there. I want to see how these teams actually play in regular season games. One that I would be real curious, excuse me, two who I'm really curious to see how they'll end up doing, though, just off the cuff, is, according to the lines, they would be considered underdogs. I'm really curious to see how the Rockets are going to do tonight against the Magic. Coming here at 7:00. I mean, the Rockets added a lot of good pieces, and, irregardless of the stuff that's happening with Kevin Porter Jr., they still got a lot of good young pieces, and now have some good veteran leadership, in my opinion. And I'm also curious to see how the new look Pistons do. With the Heat having the disappointment of not being able to get Dame in the off season, and I don't feel like the Heat had a ton of big moves during the year, or during the off season. Excuse me. I mean,
they lost a lot of their depth too, and Gabe Vincent and Max Strus.
That's right. They did lose Gabe Vincent. That's my bad. But I'm gonna be real curious to see how this goes. And you got a healthy Tyler Hero coming to play here. I will say they did get a decently solid backup centerpiece there with Thomas Bryant.
Yep.
But with the Pistons, they're -9.5. I mean,
I took the Pistons +9 because the Heat have a tendency to play down to bad teams.
Yeah, I don't know that I would pick them to win, but I think that's a good pick right there. -9, -9.5. Just because we have yet to see, with a lot of these young guys, we have yet to see how these young guys are going to play all together. I mean, the Pistons, Cade Cunningham was out, but he's back. You also got a nice piece in Jaden Ivey as well. You've got good pieces with the rookie Azura Thompson. It'll be interesting to see how he does, as well as I'm really curious to see how James Wideman is going to play there.
I like Jalen Duren a lot too. He's probably one of my favorite Pistons because he plays a similar role to Nick Claxton that plays for the Nets. Basically just defending and rebounding. But I love that from him because he's such a good rebounder, especially contested. And he had a really good, impressive rookie year, in my opinion.
Right. I'm going to go with one more off-the-cuff thing here. I'm going to take the Spurs money line. I think they're going to come out and shock some people. I'm very high on the Spurs this year. And I don't know what exactly the odds would be, but I'm going to take Victor Wembanyama to get a double-double and see how that goes.
I think I have him at 12 points, 15 points, and like 5 rebounds. So just to ease him into the NBA kind of thing.
Yeah.
The one underdog I was looking at that I took their spread instead of taking their money line because they were like plus like 300 something is the Trailblazers against the Clippers. People are going to call me crazy. Don't get me wrong. But they have – I'm not sure if he's healthy, but Robert Williams – I didn't look if he was healthy or not. They have Malcolm Brogdon off that bench. They have Anthony Simons, who's my candidate for most improved player this year. They have Shaedon Sharpe, who's very, very highly regarded like around the league. They have Scoot, who's a rookie, who could have gone number 1 in a draft where there was no Wemby. They have Jeremy Grant, right? Yeah. Who's always been serviceable, just signed a 5-year, $150 extension. Doesn't make sense to me to give him that kind of money, but we're not going to talk about that. And then they have DeAndre Ayton, who is good inside, and I feel like he's going to have a good game, especially a game against Ivica Zubac and Mason Plumlee. James says Wemby over 2.5 blocks. I did not take that only because 99% of the public bet is on him to go over that. And Vegas always eats. So I kind of shied away from that for tonight just to see how he does on defense. I know his length is ridiculous. Pause. But yeah, no, I should have taken it. I didn't, but we're going to see how it looks. But I think that the Trailblazers, especially against a Clippers team that might be resting some of their players early on, maybe not resting, but giving them shorter minutes, I feel like the Trailblazers could come up with a win. So I took them. I think it was +9 also.
Well, that's not too bad. I could probably agree to most of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so that was my underdog of the day. I just want to give them some recognition because I think that they did a really good job with that Dame trade. And still being able to put together a competent roster in my eyes. I have a fun little parlay I wanted to share, and it's a first basket scorer parlay. I only threw $1 on it, but I have Mitchell Robinson making the first field goal at +800 against the Celtics. I have DeAndre Ayton making the first basket against the Clippers. He hit for me a lot last year on first basket props. And then I have Bam Adebayo making the first field goal against the Pistons, and I have that $1 to pay out $254.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all.
Yeah, it's just a nice little fun parlay in my eyes.
Right. I've seen some interesting I saw an interesting parlay here earlier with Miles Turner +15 points. Kyle Kuzma, 20+ points. Chris Sapps, Porzingis with over 2 plus threes. LaMelo Ball with over 3 threes, so get 4. And then can't talk today apparently. De'Aaron Fox to score 25. You bet 10 because there's also on FanDuel there's a 100% profit boost today. You'd end up getting $315.20, $325.10, excuse me. So That's not a bad one at all.
If you want to hear my lotto ticket that I put in on Caesars, this is where I want your guys' feedback in the comments because I placed it. It's $5, and I'll tell you what it pays out at the end. So it's Obi Toppin to score 11 or more points, with Tyrese Halliburton to have 10 or more assists, Mitchell Robinson to score 7 or more points, with Porzingis to have over 1.5 blocks plus steals, Jalen Duren to have over 9 boards, with Cade to have over 5.5 assists, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over 34.5 total points plus assists, with Vucevic making a three-pointer, CJ McCollum to have a steal, with Zion having 35.5 over points plus assists plus rebounds, and then Keegan Murray to have 13 or more points, Lauri Markkanen to have over or 2 or more assists, and Zubac to have 1 or more assists. Before I tell you the payout on that, were there any that you found that were questionable or probably won't hit?
I mean, there's always a chance things won't hit, but I don't necessarily think they're completely unreasonable there.
So this parlay was plus 101,600 odds. So it's $5 to pay $5,080. So that's what I'm rooting on tonight for my little lotto ticket because I like making those. And then I'll share my method of how I made money last year on DraftKings. I'm not familiar with FanDuel, so I'm not sure if you're able to do it on there. But what DraftKings offers on their book is the ability to take like props at much under what they're supposed to be. So like let's say Yusuf Nurkic's line is like 9.5 boards. You can take him at 5, but it's gonna be like crappy odds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What I mean,
FanDuel's got the same thing where they got like, depending on what it is, they've got alternate, over under lines.
Okay. So what I do is I find 2 from every game that I find to be a lock and just parlay them all together. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I went with like the Lakers game yesterday, doing that 10-leg thing. But I'm looking at a couple where it's like these should hit like easily. Like I have one that's $3.30 to pay out $200. And it's Clint Capella to grab 8 rebounds and Trey to make a 3. Those will both hit.
What's that? What's that going to look like paying out?
Oh,
or what's the odds on that? Excuse me.
So on those 2 alone, it's minus 330. But in the grand scheme of my parlay, I was able to use a profit boost and get it up to plus 6,000 with all the other stuff that I have attached to it.
That's not too bad. I will say this though, with NBA being back and doing, having more daily type of games, what I see some bettors online do is that they do something called the 10-day 10K challenge. You start with I think you start like $20 or something.
You start with 10 and then just roll it over every day, basically.
Yeah, I mean, either way, 10, 20, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I might start one of those up next week and look at some kind of reasonable potential ones, see how far I get, if I can make it all the way up to 10,000 or not.
We can also do something like that in the Discord and create like a separate thread for it. So people, if you guys want to join the Discord, can go in and see what we're choosing for a day as well.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea whatsoever. But yeah, that'd be a little fun thing that we could do to get people more involved and see how successful we can be with it. So, one that I saw somebody doing tonight was over 7.5 Trae Young assists, and then over 6.5 Carl Anthony Towns rebounds, which
That's
is
it.
that's not unreasonable whatsoever.
If
I
I
think the assist one is probably going to be the difficult one to do, but as long as again, that's pretty reasonable in my book.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I
But
can. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, but like we all, I'm sure, thought 8, 9, 10, 11 rebounds for Anthony Davis was
Yeah,
was great. But yeah, I mean, that's something I'll start looking into next week and post it daily. And if anybody wants to join along, feel free. But speaking of Anthony Davis, I am already putting Anthony Davis in my parlay jail. Um, you know,
oh, good
you
old
are
parlay jail.
a monster of a man, monster of a tall man, and you have one stinking rebound through the first half. Like, what is up with that? Like, how? Um, I mean, there's decent amount of mouths to feed on that team, so I'm not as upset about the points as I am the rebounds. Um, but it's just crazy. I mean, that's one of the things that he can do pretty well, in my opinion. And they absolutely crapped the bed through the first half. So, great.
So I just came up with one to start this season for the 10K challenge. So here's your guys' exclusive look at my day one. We got DeJounte Murray over 2.5 rebounds with Trae Young to make a 3-pointer. And then we got Emmanuel Quickly to score 8 points and Julius Randle to score 15 points. You just have to bet 11, but it comes out to 20.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And then I'm sure with it being the beginning of the season, I'm sure some of these other sports books also have profit boosts. So, like
Yeah.
for example, the FanDuel is 100%. So you probably end up making about $30 or so with that, which is not bad. That's a pretty good start to do there. So,
Yeah.
it's just kind of doing a little more research on top of it and trying to figure out, hey, how are these going to look moving forward? So, haven't decided if I'm going to do strictly points or, some rebounds and stuff, but we'll see. We will see.
Also, what DraftKings is doing, I don't know if you saw it. For to celebrate NBA opening week, they're giving everyone a free $10 bonus bet. And
That's
then
not bad.
so if you don't want to put any money down, you still get the $10. And then they're giving you a no sweat, like an everyday no sweat bet for any same game parlay or like super parlay for same game parlays. So it doesn't count on straight bets or regular parlays. It has to be same game parlays or same game parlay X is what they call it. When you
Well,
group
yeah, I mean that's just
game parlays together.
multiple games having multiple legs, really.
Yeah. So I'm definitely excited for that. My main parlay that I made is a 4-leg money line parlay. Excuse me. And that's going to be the Rockets on the money line at plus 154. The Nets at plus 120 against the Cavs. The Mavs at minus 175 against the Spurs, assuming Luka's healthy, which I believe he is. And then the Pacers, who I'm very heavy on tonight, at minus 205. Throw that all together in a parlay, and you're looking at plus 1,206 odds to pay, and $10 pays out 130. So that's the main one that I'm hoping for tonight.
That's not too bad whatsoever.
Yeah, I like the Rockets a lot. I really like how you elaborated on them before. I really like what they did this offseason. And I don't think it should be any surprise if they make the play in this year.
I agree. Before we move further here, I just wanted to give out some picks for the final round of 8 race for NASCAR this weekend.
I was gonna ask, how did you do on your
I didn't have any picks over the weekend, although some of the guys that I thought that would have been pretty good. Kyle Larson looked like the fastest car throughout the race. And then with about 50 some, 60 some laps to go, he ended up he was in second, but was trying to make up some time on the guy in first who had a pretty good long run car. And that was Ryan Blaney. Ended up bumping into the back, getting into pit, and hit the sand barriers at the end of pit road. So that ended up being not so fun, to
Gotcha.
say the least. But there was some pretty good value throughout the top 10. So if you looked at like uh, top 5, top 3 sort of picks, I don't think at the beginning of the day, Ryan Blaney, who was a runner up, he would have had some good odds if your sportsbook allows for top 5 instead of top 3. AJ Allmendinger was in 5th, and he's in a mid pack car, so he ended up coming through pretty well there. I think just there were a couple of head-to-head matchups that would have been a little difficult with what happened with the some of the wrecks and stuff, but overall it looked pretty consistent for the most part. So they're at the Paperclip this weekend, which is the smallest track on the schedule at Martinsville. I don't know if some of these sports books are real slow and getting out their NASCAR odds through the week. Just because I imagine that it's not really super high on their list to get out, but you've got some interesting ones. So you've got the Xfinity Series this week on Saturday. You got some good head-to-head matchups here. Oh, one, kind of a little leg here that I like is Sammy Smith over Brandon Jones. Josh Berry over Justin Allgaier, which they've got him. He's not had as good of a year, but he's pretty good at Martinsville. You got Sam Mayer over Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed over Daniel Hemrick, and then I would include John Hunter Nemechek over that. So if you parlayed those picks for the Xfinity race together, you would end up with I'm just double checking the odds here. So I would definitely be comfortable with this. So you bet $10, you win $193. So that's not too bad.
That's solid.
So that would be for the Xfinity race on Friday or Saturday, excuse me. And I'm not sure if they do have the Cup ones here. So on that one, some of these, just to give a nice little like here, I would probably do yeah. I'm trying to put this one together real quick. So I've got a wow. This is real interesting to me. They have added some like total team ones instead of just individual drivers. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Got you.
But I would do this. I do the 7-leg one. Bubba Wallace over Ross Chastain, Danny Hamlin over Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell over Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson over Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney over Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe over Almirola, and then William Byron over Brad Keselowski. End up paying, you bet 10, end up winning 572, so it's not too bad. But I feel confident in that one. That's going to be less crazy than some of these other races have been.
Yeah. I don't really know much about NASCAR, so I can't really give my...
Well, you got Caesar, so put those together, and then when you win some money this weekend, you can thank me later.
Tip you like 10%.
Yeah. So,
Copy. I don't
I
think I
think
have any
that's all,
Caesars
that's
'cause
all I had for my picks for the weekend. I don't, it's like it's okay to take off the weekend sometimes,
yeah.
just to do responsibly. And I'm not as thrilled for the NFL docket this weekend. Um, so just gonna take that one off for the weekend.
Yeah, I think tomorrow I'm gonna rock with the Buccaneers +9, just because the Bills have just looked flat in the first half.
Well, it's your boy Josh Allen. That's the reason for it.
Yeah, and he says he said today he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna think less and just play more football. So, um, yeah, I'll probably take the Bucks +9, maybe even money line, just like a little sprinkle on it because they're +330, so it has good value. Um, that's all I really have for today too. Um, the Knicks game is about to start, so I think I'm gonna get going too. But Nate, where can we find you?
A little bit of here and everywhere, and soon to be this weekend with NASCAR podcast, and that'll launch out this week. So that's where you can find me.
Sweet. You can find me over on Twitter at the Knicks Stop. You can find me on Instagram at the Knicks Stop. You can find me Tuesdays at 9 p.m. with John and Nick over on Necessary Roughness, talking football. You can find me here at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, but today we did it a little early. Talking sports betting, obviously. And then you can also find me tomorrow with James and Kev on the bounce, talking the first couple of days of basketball, what we like from what we've seen, what we don't like, and things like that. So with that being said, I think we're going to wrap it up here. I hope everyone has a great night. Make sure to gamble responsibly. Don't bet money that you don't have or can't afford to lose. And make sure you guys have a great night.